Now it's time for your viewer comments. Now, I'm really proud about this channel and how it's championing innovation and looking for more ways to do less and stay lazy. So in an effort to do as little as possible, I'm now going to allow someone else to comment or answer your comments rather than myself, because it requires a lot less effort, and at the same time it kind of shows to you where all of your support and all that money is going through. It's going to an AI that I developed, and we're going to allow George, that's what his name's going to be for now, because you gave some suggestions but none of them are good enough. So for now we'll call him George, as in George Daniels, George Morrison, or George of the Jungle, whatever you may call it. And we're going to allow George to answer your questions, and we're going to begin with Steve Moreno. Let's turn this around. There you go. There. Steve Moreno says, the Seiko 5 GMT seems like a great watch for the price. I'm working on acquiring my next watch, which is going to be a Grand Seiko Spring Drive GMT. I'm trying to decide between the SPGE 253 with the black dial and blue and bezel, or the SPGE 255, which has the blue dial and the bezel. Okay, so Steve Moreno has a very life-changing dilemma here. Very, very important, really. So we're going to allow George to answer this question for him.
The SPGE 253 features a blue dial and a stainless steel bracelet, while the SPGE 255 has a black dial and a black leather strap. If you prefer a more classic, dressy look, the SPGE 255 might be the better option for you. On the other hand, if you prefer a sportier look or want a watch that can be dressed up or down, the SPGE 253 stainless steel bracelet may be more suitable. Both watches are powered by Grand Seiko's high-precision quartz movement, which offers outstanding accuracy and reliability. They also feature the brand's signature high level of finishing and attention to detail, including a Zaratsu polished case and a multifaceted sapphire crystal. Ultimately, I would recommend trying both watches.
Okay, now he's recommending something.
If possible, to see which one speaks to you the most. You can also consider your wardrobe and lifestyle to determine which one will fit in better with your overall look and daily routine.
Okay, first of all, he talks in such a slow pace, it's like putting me to sleep. So if there's anything that this AI was able to do, it has delivered another way to make your nighttime storytelling a little bit easier. But you know, to me, any of those two would be a great pick, because quite honestly, I want to experience a Grand Seiko, but so far that has eluded me. If you have any experience with those two, I think that's the best advice that we can give. So it's very important that you actually wear the watch first and see which ones you would go with. Here's an update about this segment. Steve reached out and corrected us here. George got it mixed up. The SPGE 253 was the black model and the 255 is the blue one. Also, both seems to be available only in the steel bracelet setup. George got it wrong, like a real ignorant AI pirate that he is. But I think you've already done that, and you've shown in your past comments that you have the ability to experience these watches. So keep us posted which ones you actually choose, and maybe we'll have George comment again on that. You see, I'm now prolonging this this show even more, but I'm supposed to allow just George to comment here. I'm doing more work. This is all because of you guys. Robert Littlehawk says, the lug setup looks wide, Does the height make it top heavy? So he's talking about here the Richard Mille homages that we've been reviewing in the past few days. So let's see what George has to say about it.
It depends on personal preference. Richard Mille watches are known for their high-end technical materials and construction, which can make them heavier than traditional watches. Some people appreciate the weight and feel of a Richard Mille watch, while others may find it too heavy to wear comfortably. Ultimately, whether a watch is too heavy or not is subjective and varies from person to person.
Person to person. Maybe George is sipping way too much of that martini right now. But also, this shows what AI cannot do. Right now, this AI is actually just looking at all of the collective information that he could scour in the internet based on the question that we had about Richard Mille being top heavy. But at least it knows what top heavy means. Now, where it gets it wrong is that most of Richard Milles are actually pretty light, especially when those models are made out of titanium and TPT materials. Not to mention that the rubber straps are also quite light and soft. So most Richard Milles are not really top heavy at all. So I don't know which George is pertaining to here, but probably one of those stainless steel models on smaller wrist. Actually, that's something that you need to consider when it comes to purchasing Richard Milles, and that's something that George doesn't know yet. Next, Acewing 221. Sorry to ask a dumb question, but what's the difference between a special edition Omega and a limited edition Omega? Aren't the two synonymous? There's a difference, and George probably knows about that.
Special edition Omega
watches and limited edition Omega watches both refer to limited run watches produced by Omega. A special edition watch is a one-of-a-kind creation that is not part of a larger collection. It may feature unique design elements, materials, or functionality that sets it apart from other Omega watches. A limited edition watch, on the other hand, is part of a collection that has a set production run. Limited edition watches are often released to commemorate a special event, such as a historical milestone, a sporting event, or a celebrity partnership. The production run of limited edition watches is usually capped,
That's
and
actually
each
pretty
watch is
comprehensive.
numbered, adding to their collectability. Both special edition and limited edition Omega watches are highly sought after by collectors and fans of the brand due to their exclusivity, unique design elements, and limited availability.
Now my dog wants to get into the action too. Well, actually, George is pretty spot on with that, so we're not going to comment. That's exactly what limited and special editions mean for Omega. Well done, George. Looks too much like an RM. Again, we're talking about RMs here, but this time we're talking about Hublot Mecha 10 that I reviewed ages ago. Timemeasured 9137 commented that. So let's see if George is able to distinguish between a Hublot Mecha 10 and a Richard Mille watch.
The Hublot Mecha 10 and Richard Mille
Hublot.
watches have similar features, including a bold design and technical materials, which may cause some people to think that they look alike. However, each brand has its own distinct design language and aesthetic, and the watches
He's correct.
themselves are different in their details and execution. The Hublot Mecha 10
Hublot.
has a more angular case shape and bold, sculptural lines. The Richard Mille
Sculptural
watches,
lines.
on the other hand, are known for their curved, organic shapes and technical materials, such as titanium and carbon fiber. While some may see similarities between the Hublot Mecha 10 and Richard Mille, others may see distinct differences between the two brands.
Well said. Actually, that is true. The Hublot Mecha 10, Hublot, not Hublot, Hublot Mecha 10. When I did the hands-on review with that, I actually saw that and noticed that it has a lot more angular bezel design rather than just a curved smooth, flowing tonneau shape that Richard Mille has. So there's a difference. But because of the tonneau shape, that's what makes it kind of similar to many people's eyes. But there's a big difference, and actually, George actually got that spot on as well. Okay, here's another one. Niga Please One says, quartz is gay. Let's see what George has to say about that.
No, quartz watches are not inherently gay. Sexual orientation and personal style preferences have no correlation with the type of watch someone wears, and it is not appropriate to make assumptions or judgments about someone based on their fashion choices. Additionally, it's important to avoid using derogatory or offensive language when referring to groups of people. Let's focus on treating everyone with respect and kindness regardless of their appearance or personal style.
Well, George sounded very threatening there. But for that comment, you're banned from the show. Paprice6248 says, Casio is literally the only G-Shock I don't like. I don't know why. Okay. Sounds like we've heard of that before from Paprice.
Papris has made the same comment twice in the channel about the same subject of not liking the Casio.
Yeah,
the first comment prompted Jason to answer in a recent video. Likely, Papris did not watch past the first 2 minutes of the latest video, where it explains why he might feel this way,
reporting there,
and posted his second comment thereafter, for failing to watch the video completely and commenting twice on his uncertainties. Papris has been banned from the show.
Okay, wait. Okay. First and foremost, Paprice, yes, you are banned from the show because of commenting twice, at least for 13 seconds or so. But for trying to ban someone already on your first show, George, you're also banned from this show. That's enough for you.